It's not. It's not. I can only raise my hand. I can ask a question. I can chat, and I can mute my audio, but I can't share my screen. It's not. I can only raise my hand. I can ask a question. I can chat, and I can mute my audio, but I can't share my screen. Okay, so thank you. I can see now.
All right, all right.
I can ask a question. I can chat, and I can mute my audio. Okay, so just a moment. Okay.
Hmm? I shouldn't go offline. All right, so we just have to wait for Miss Agama to get back with us. I guess she's having a little bit of network difficulty. So in the meantime, just hold on, hang on. We have a fun train to learn today, a lot to learn about virtual environment and how it is going to transpose on after COVID-19 and the state of work after that. Oh, great, she's back. All right, are you set to share your screen now? Hello, Mr. Gama, can you hear me? Are you set to share your screen now? Hello, can you hear me? So let's just give us a few minutes. You'll be back with us soon. What's up with our network? And now, please. I don't know what's wrong with our network. Hello, Mr. Gamma, are you still with us? I can see you're trying to share your screen. Hello? Alright, let's just give her some few minutes. I'm sure she's trying to set it up. Within a second, she should be up with her slide, and then we can see what she has for us today. What's the challenge now? What's the challenge? What's the challenge?
I want to send you the slide, make you share for Hannah.
What's the challenge now?
Go back. I will send you the slide. So you go back down. Share. Why should I teach? Your voice, you come.
No, I didn't mute it. How was the medical? I'm the one saying what's the challenge.
Honestly, I lose my mind.
I beg. Mr. Gamma? I beg, close this thing. This is not scatter. Hello, sir. All right, so I apologize for the break in transmission. We had a little hitch with the network, but I think Mr. Gamma is back with us again, so we can resume the session properly, and then we can have our slide shared, and then we can learn today as we are expected and as it is anticipated. So once more, I'm very sorry for the break in transmission and the delay. All right, so we'll kick off immediately and now. All right, great. Mr. Gamma, unmute your mic so we can hear you. No, I'm not still yet able to hear you. You should turn up the volume. Okay, I still can't hear you. I don't think the network has reconciled your audio yet. All right, good. I can hear you now. Your audio is out again. Your audio is out again. I think it must be the network glitch along the line, but we'll go through with it. We'll go through with it. Just ensure that your audio is still connected. besides that, in another, I don't think, yeah. Oh, I think she must have had a network issue. We just wait for it to restore, come back. I'm sure we're having a great time. There's so much knowledge we're learning. All right. All right. So the network is back. You can have the floor again, Mr. Gama. Oh, I think she must have had a network issue. We just wait for it to restore. Can you hear? It's coming from our end. I think it's coming from our end.
lecturers to just publish their course materials. They also need to have live one-on-one sessions with their students. And then after having these sessions with their students, it's important that these sessions are recorded for the purpose of those who may need to go back to it. Okay? And then in creating recordings of class videos, it's also good to schedule office hours. So in the traditional environment, there's a staff room and students can actually go to see their lecturers there. But if everyone is at home and people are working from the comfort of their homes, you might as well set up a virtual office hours, and you can say, okay, twice in a week for 2 hours, you'll be having office hours, and then students can come in after you have created, say, a link. Students can hop in and then talk to you whatever issues they may be having, and you can resolve them together. That's the beauty of having to schedule virtual office hours with students in a virtual learning environment. And the next thing I want to talk about is gamification. Okay, so game-centered learning. In the beginning, I talked about incorporating those things that are done in a traditional environment and then creatively and innovatively deploying them to a remote-based learning environment. And by gamification, it means that if there are processes that can be done using a game-based method to further ensure that learners grasp the concept that is being taught, this can be deployed into a game form. It can be deployed into a game form, and then it allows them to actually understand this. So if we go to the App Store, we have so many games that are centered on learning for learners actually. So let me not restrict it to just children. That are centered on learning. And so if recently I came across a platform that allows learners, people who want to learn, say, CSS Grid, to learn it using a game-based method. And I think it's quite an effective method, because when you are playing, you think you are playing, but you're actually learning certain concepts. And that process allows you to understand things faster. And research has actually stated that gamification, game-based learning is actually 75% more effective in classrooms. So lecturers can look at game-based method for teaching in a virtual learning environment. So if you have a concept you teach, you can just go online and look at your, and then while they are playing the game, they are actually learning, and then you can come to class and look at it together and all that. That's a very effective method for learning, game-based learning. So we look at we look at modules. I've talked about putting information in chunks. So instead of giving your students course materials spanning over 2 weeks and having them actually assess this, you can put this course materials or this content in little chunks and then give it to them bit by bit. This means that they go over the small chunk and then process it, they understand it, they can synthesize the knowledge they have gotten from it and apply it. And then by the time you are bringing on the next content, they can actually learn by tying it to the previous knowledge. Remember I mentioned that learning is a process that actually talks about the connectedness of knowledge, being able to look at what you are teaching now, look at how it connects to what I know, and then what I can do with it. And so it is very important that tutors don't dish out modules to their students in very heavy formats or in heavy volumes. It has to be in chunks, okay? And so to look at formative assessments, assess the level of understanding of the students, how they have been able to understand what's been taught. Okay, so if we look at that, say I teach a particular concept in algebra, in mathematics, how am I sure that my students understand what I've taught? So if after I have done the videos, I have put my information or my course material in chunks, I have scheduled office hours, I have asked them how do I know what's the measure? How am I able to ascertain that students have actually learned something? I can decide to assess them. And this is not for the purpose of actually grading them like a continuous assessment test and all that. It's actually for me to know how well the children actually understand what is being taught. So before, as a teacher or a tutor, before you think about continuous assessment test, you have to actually conduct a formative assessment just to know or be able to diagnose that these kids are actually, or these learners are actually following what is being taught. They actually understand what is being taught. And that can be done using quizzes and live polls. And live polls, they are enabled on apps like Zoom. And then there are apps like SurveyMonkey, which can also be used to conduct these quizzes. And they are pretty straightforward and easy to use. And so we look at group discussion. Okay, so back then in school, we used to be in groups. Lecturers put students in groups. Okay, I'm always mentioning lecturers. Sorry about that. So instructors put students in groups and then have them do teamwork. And that's also a very good way to engage students in a virtual learning environment. What that does is that when the students are actually working together, they are collaborating, they are sharing knowledge, it helps them to grow their understanding of particular topics. So instead of working alone, and since everyone is at home, students are working from the comfort of their homes, these students can actually be put in groups and have them also carry out group works and also have group discussions among themselves. And these discussions can also include the instructors. Okay, most of the e-learning platforms actually have this feature that allows group discussion, and the beauty about it is that not everybody have to be online at the same time. So if I'm online in the morning and there's a discussion on a particular topic, I can join in and someone else can join in when he or she is free. So one key thing is not restricting learning in a remote environment to synchronous. Okay, so we didn't talk about that, but I'm going to mention that now. So when learning in a remote environment or in a virtual learning environment, it can actually be forms. It can be synchronous at the same time, it can be asynchronous. And so by synchronous, we mean that students and the instructor are online at the same time. Okay, and asynchronous means that it's flexible. They can come online whenever they want and participate in class sessions. And so it is also important, especially in a society like ours where bandwidth is a major hurdle. And so internet, okay, is a major hurdle, and then electricity, is another hurdle. And so restricting classes to synchronous, as in real-time discussions and group work, may not be feasible for all students. And so that can actually work against the remote instruction. So you can post your group discussions or group topic to be discussed, and then learners can come at their convenient time, which could be within a specific time frame. So you can say, I can post a topic today and say, everyone make your contributions to this topic between now and tomorrow 12 p.m. And so that allows for people who are not able to connect today to work towards connecting tomorrow, instead of restricting it to a particular time and saying everyone comment or everyone put up your own contribute to this discussion at this time. I think that can work against the whole thing. And so also talk about encouraging learners to create real world projects. Okay, so after they have learned these things, how do we ascertain that the learning is effective if they cannot apply what they have learned? So we can now tell them to go out, carry out real life projects based on what they have learned. And I think that's where the creativity comes in. Creativity comes in, innovativeness comes in. And those are also skills that must be learned as part of the curriculum, though not academic, but those are soft skills that are important for every learner. And so having these children or these learners actually go out to solve real world problems based on what they have learned will also aid them to better understand it and also apply this knowledge they have learned to complexities around specific subjects. So do I have any questions or any comments? Okay, so I just saw a question. Someone is asking that can the virtual replace the traditional method? Okay, unpopular opinion, I think it can. I think that virtual can replace traditional, but it will take a lot because there has to be good infrastructure put in place to ensure that everything that's needed for it to sail smoothly is put in place. So once all that is done, okay, in an environment or in a society where there is good internet, you are sure there is electricity, then you wouldn't have a problem. And then not just internet and electricity, there are courses or there are subject areas that require simulations, that require lab work. Okay, and so if you look at MIT is going online this fall, and you can't tell me that they don't carry out engineering simulations or they don't carry out lab work, but they have created a system where they are able to actually do these things online. We talk about 3D printing, okay, which in our own community or in our own society may not be feasible for us because these things require a lot of funding, which most of our institutions lack here. But outside here, I think traditional method can replace the virtual learning method. But here in Nigeria, as we speak, I would say no. So I have given my opinion on that, and someone has asked me if I would be sharing the slides. Well, for good reasons, I will not be sharing the slides.
Okay, that's like what you've been saying so far. Everything you've been dropping so far, it's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. So I don't really mind if that slide will be shared so that everyone can.
Okay, so I've been asked if blended learning will work better. Yes, I believe so much in blended learning. I believe that even the adoption of ICT in education will also help to increase the standard in some way. Okay. At the moment, recently there was so imagine if blended learning was already mainstream in our institutions across Nigeria. Students in public schools
All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm sure you're set and loaded to give us more of that straight bucket of knowledge, Mrs. Agama Jesuraba. We are so elated that you're here, and we just want you to go on. Just have the floor, ma. It's been wonderful for what you've been saying so far, bridging the gap, connecting native learning and modernized learning, bringing STEM and IT together, pushing Africa to the next stage, and creating a portfolio that can launch just the learning space from what it is with the natural classroom style to a jet age where everything is digital and we have an effective learning virtual environment. It's been so wonderful, ma. So wonderful. So you can go on, and we can take more questions. If you have any more questions, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I think there's a chat here that okay, someone has asked any comments on potential negative impacts of excessive exposing young learners to digital media. Now, there are ways to get around this, and by opening up learning to the internet or to technology, there are also technologies that have been developed or designed to actually curb excessive usage. Okay, so for instance, if you on your apps, on your mobile devices, there are apps you can use to restrict screen time. Okay, these are ways that you can minimize the screen time for children or for learners with access. So if you don't want maybe your children, or you don't want your learners to stray in quotes and then to other parts of the internet while they are expected to be learning, there are apps that can be used to do that. So I think there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance, and this balance can be enforced using other technology-based methods, or technology-based, should I say, apps that have been designed to do that. And so, for instance, you can restrict your users or your learners to certain sites if they are working within a school network. You can do that. And then there are actually also browsers that you can use to restrict. Okay, for instance, when they are meant to be writing exams, there are apps that can be used to restrict the movement or restrict the use of the device at such times. So I think in looking at the negative aspects, which people claim to be excessive and screen time for learners, there are also technology enabled means to curb concerns, and if they are deployed rightly, I think it will go a long way to help the learners. So it's not something to be scared of. There are ways to go around it, and if they are deployed rightly, then it can work. Yes. For safety of young ones, there have been reports of bullying, and then aside bullying, there are other reports based on the exposure of children on the internet, maybe via some websites, which I also want to mention. But this can also be mitigated, and then it is important that when we are giving these young learners devices, it is important that they are also well informed. So we don't just give internet-enabled devices to children and say, okay, this is your learning material now, go ahead and learn. They also need to be informed. They also need to know what is obtainable, and give them age-specific information, or give them age-specific information to know what to do and what not to do when things happen, or when they go online and find things that are not so age that are not of their age. Okay, and so for instance, I know that there are courses that children can take when it comes to digital literacy for children, which can also help them to understand what the internet is, give them a good understanding of what the internet is, what they can do with it, what to avoid, and signs that they should look out for when they are in communities on the internet.
Yeah, I agree so much. I agree. All right, it's been an amazing time, everyone. We've learned so much. I have had a library full of knowledge. I can assure you of that. It's been wonderful having you, Mrs. J. Surabo. And we look forward to the next webinar series where we can treat more and more scarce and tough topics that are really encroaching on us and is a major distraction for growth in the educational sector and also in the IT sector. All right, so thank you so much for taking your time out to be here. Thank you so much. Are we having another question? Okay, I don't think we have any other questions, so we can wrap it up from here. All right. So thank you so much, Ma. So wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. So once more, special thanks to our sponsor, STEMacademy.io. You can go right to STEMacademy.io to get courses that touches every single arm and corner in STEM technology. You can also go through and sign up, get the courses. They are all full and instructor-led, and they will take you through a learning path from beginner level to proficiency level in whatsoever arm of learning you choose to follow. All right, and also special thanks to LetslearnTV, a special hub for getting educational content that you can get online and you can learn virtually on the go. And also thank you to Brainiac STEM and Robotics for making this possible and giving us a wonderful guest such as Mrs. J. Surabo. So, all right, don't forget, if you're on YouTube, click on the subscribe button and stay tuned and follow. We have our series every Tuesday and every Thursday. So until then, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep going straight right up. See you in the next webinar series. Bye.